Joining us from our Abuja studios is Ambassador Haroon Umar, who is a retired diplomat. Your Excellency, thank you for your time. Welcome this morning.
Yeah, thank you very much.
The last two stories, that I read seem to signify where we are with the war. The Ukrainians saying that there will be no peace talks that involve any kind of ceding of territory. The Russians saying that, well, that's the decision of Ukraine. They are ready to resume talks at any point in time. Is this a fair assessment of the situation on the ground as at today?
Yes, that is it. And I think that Ukraine is not being realistic. But I'm not surprised. Ukraine is being prompted by the massive support it is getting, or she is getting, from West. If you recall, the US president has just signed a bill to support the Ukraine with $40 billion. And even the EU has agreed to support the Ukraine with about $13 billion. Now, the Ukraine is suffering from lack of exports of its commodities, which would have brought down its economy. But now, with this support of financial support, then it is feeling bold, it is feeling strong to continue to make bold face in the face of the destruction of its people and its country. And I am not really in support, or let me say, I'm not really happy with the approach of the West, including the US. They are prompting Ukraine to destruction instead of prompting Ukraine to peace. And this destruction and this war in general is not in the interest of not only Ukraine, it's not in the interest of Europe, it's not in the interest of America, and it is gradually pervading the whole world, economically and security-wise. Now, economically, you can see that we are facing shortages, food, in many countries. There is food shortage. Many countries relied on Ukraine and Russia for wheat and barley. Many countries rely on Ukraine or Russia for energy. And these two combined will definitely bring down the economy of each country. Many European countries will fall under this. Other countries, like Egypt, will also be affected. Even the United States is going to be affected through energy shortage. Now, how can this be in the interest of Ukraine? And now Ukraine is still thinking that with this support it's getting from Europe and America, it can withstand, it will stand the ferocious war against Russia. They are, of course, getting some intelligence and strategic weapons, which is making them to put a stop at the onslaught of the Russian. But for how long? For how long will this be? So I think that the stand of Ukraine is, if you leave me, I would say infantile. They are not being realistic. They are not realistic at all.
What do you think would be the realistic options on ground for both? You did reference the fact that Ukraine is actually suffering. The country is being destroyed, the territory is being affected, and that, perhaps they needed to be more pragmatic. But then Russia is not escaping unscathed either. The Russian economy is being badly affected as well. A lot of what would have been income to it is frozen outside of Russia. Payment systems have expelled it. Many countries, many companies that are not Russian have left Russia and so on. So why I raise that is because it does appear as if everyone is being affected. But the principle at stake here, and I'm thinking as a diplomat you would be able to speak to this, is that every country is sovereign, and that therefore on the basic principle, you shouldn't get to decide what happens in another country.
Oh, sure. Decision, whatever a country decides for itself, I think if it is realistic or pragmatic, should be in the interest of that country. What do you stand to gain by joining NATO if your country will be destroyed? Now, even as it is now, if the war stops, and let's say Russia accedes to the demand that it allows Ukraine to be NATO member. Now, how long it will take to build up, to rebuild the country is a setback. It's not an achievement. So why not stop this and just accept? And if you leave me, I'm just wondering, for goodness sake, what is the purpose? What is the main benefit Ukraine will get by being a NATO member? And how does it help in to prop up the strength, the economy, the well-being of the people? So this is not really in the interest of Ukraine. But like you said, Russia is feeling the pinch. It's definitely feeling the pinch. But so also is Europe. So also is Ukraine. So also is the United States. Everybody is feeling the pinch. Now, I think that they will continue to feel the pinch until that time when everybody is worn down. Maybe when people feel that they have come to the end of it, then when they feel that enough is enough, then we'll have a ray of hope. But you see, as it is now, the situation, both sides are just making the war more and more difficult, bringing the solution to the war more difficult to perform. If you look at the efforts of the United States, it is, for instance, it has a bill in the Congress now to punish African countries who support Russia. You know, is this telling us that they are on the way to get a solution to the war? They have also gone to Asia. They are fanning up the old rivalries, China and the South China Sea, the problem between China and India, trying to gain support. And, they have also somehow toned down the support of India to Russia by offering them strategic equipment. So this, I think, is not the best way to go about getting peace in the war. And it is really affecting almost everybody. I was reading, I was listening to a video clip on the social media saying that if, as it is, we continue like this, most of European countries will be broke because they will be short of energy, they will be short of food supplies, and the economy will be brought down. Already, inflation has gone hyper in most of these countries. So what is the benefit? Why all this? Why the rush? Why are they also being hypocritical, if I should say it? Maybe I'm being too harsh. Let me say they are using multiple double standard, multiple standard. When it was right for the US to threaten nuclear war, when the Soviet Union stationed its nuclear warheads in Cuba, and everybody held that because they felt threatened by the presence of those nuclear warheads in Cuba. So why can't they see the threatening effects of Ukraine being a member of NATO, where same nuclear weapons can be stationed. American nuclear warheads could be stationed in Russia. Clearly, Russia will have to continue this because it is being threatened. If it allows this to happen, there will one day be no Russia. I mean, that is how they're seeing it. And of course, Putin has already made the threat that rather than to have no Russia, then let the world finish. He was ready to deploy, to use nuclear power against any country. And if it means the end of the world, so be it. And they continue to cycle Russia, so that if they succeed, they will squeeze Russia, and then there will be no Russia. Look at it this way. There will be no Russia if they squeeze Russia the way they are going. So it is really going to be a dicey situation. No matter, I think Russia will continue this until its demands, or let me say, substantial demands have been met with. And it will also not permit the presence of nuclear warheads in its doorsteps. That's my take on this.
Indeed. Thank you, Your Excellency, Ambassador Haroon Umar. Thank you so much for your perspective. Ambassador Umar joining us from our Abuja studios.